anyway. So I'm going to leave it, and you can't enable it because of the ambiguity. So I'm not going to enable it. I'm just going to do one change to it. I want it to be both ways because what I want to do will require me using both ways. So I'm going to leave it as both. I want to do something called use relationship, which I will explain as we go on. So I'm going to leave it as both. I'm not going to make it active, and I'm going to say OK. Let's just wait a second for that to take effect. Okay, so that is done, and I think I'm okay with the relationships I have created. So let's go back right now to some of the tables and create something interesting. Again, it's not absolute that this is the only way to do what I want to do, but this is one way that will force me to show you a lot of formulas and concepts. So I want to create in the sales data table. I want to create a sales. We have sales in Naira now. I want to see create sales also in USD, and I want it to reflect in this table. You could create it as a measure, but then I want to use this to show you some interesting things. So I'm going to create sales, a new column, and I'm going to call it sales USD. Sales USD, and I'm going to say this is equal to sales, which is in Naira, divided by exchange rate. If I try to type exchange rate, I can't pick it, right? So I need to let it be aware that exchange rate is in a related table, in a table that I have created a relationship with. So once I pick related, I can now be able to say exchange rate. So it should do the division by the exchange rate for that particular month. Okay, and if you do this and say enter, instantly this is going to get me the value, and you can do a check. Let's do a quick check. So I'm going to grab this part. I'm going to cut it, or maybe not cut it. I'm going to grab just this part. Let me redo that. I'm going to grab just this part, copy. Then I'm going to comment out this entire formula lines. Commenting is just a double slash, right? And then I'm going to paste this one here. So I wanted to just check if it is working. This is something I do a lot because sometimes the logic might work in your head, but then you've missed out some things and you just want to verify that what you're doing is picking the right thing. So is this picking for me the right exchange rate? So let's check. This is for the month of August 2019. So if I go August 2019, it says 362. So if I go to the exchange rate table, August 2019 362. Let's see, August 2019 362. See, that's correct. So let's check another value. Let's see what happens for April 2020. So we are very certain by doing April 2020 is 390 here. So if I go back to my sales data, to this one particular, and I say April 2020, so I can do that a bit faster by coming here and I maybe coming here and I pick 2020 April. So 390 is the value there. Let's see if it tallies 390. So with this, I think I'm a bit confident that what I've done is working as I expect. So I'm going to remove the filter. So that means if that is working correctly, then it's ultimately dividing the sales value by the correct denominator, the correct exchange rate. So I'm going to just wipe off this because that was just what I wanted to let you be certain of. So I'm okay with that, and that has helped us to see how you can use another DAX formula called related. So I'm going to do likewise for sales target. So I'm going to create the sales target in USD. So if I go to sales target, sales target, and I try to do likewise, target in USD. Target in USD, and I say that should equal the target divided by exchange rate, again not coming up. So let's try related exchange rate, boom, not coming up again. The reason is because I don't have an active relationship between the exchange rate table and the sales target table. So I have to use another way. I have to use a formula that makes it possible for me to get, that exchange rate via that inactive relationship. So I'm going to have to use calculate. Calculate is a formula that allows me to specify a filter or something like use a relationship. So that's why I'm picking it. So I'm going to say this should get me what the exchange rate is, but it has a peculiarity of you must put in an aggregating function here. So even though I know I need just one value of exchange rate, but then I have to wrap it inside average, otherwise it's not going to let me type just exchange rate that way. So I'm going to say average of the exchange rate for that period, which in this case is just still going to be just the same value. Average of 365, in 10 places is still 365. So by the way, if I knock off that average, this is not going to work. You can try it. So you must always, you can put some will not work actually. So average is what I would say makes better sense. So it doesn't go sum up the, it just gets you the average exchange rate, which in this case is still going to be the actual exchange rate. So average exchange rate, then I'm going to, this is why I'm using it, because I want to specify use relationship. So calculate is that formula that allows me to put in a filter, and this use relationship, well, in this context is a type of filter too, right? You can use it in any way that you are allowed to put a filter. So I'm going to say you should use the relationship that I have between the sales target year month and the exchange rate target year month. So it should use that relationship that I have created, and so maybe so that we can test again before I start dividing. Let's even check if it is picking the correct thing. Okay, so let's do a test. Let's go test for, I think I still remember what April 2020 is. 390, right? So April 2020, 390. Let's see if that's what we get. So that looks correct. Let's pick another value. Let's pick for a different period. So let's check for, I thought I selected all, huh? So let's check for January 2018, 370. So if I go to the exchange rate table, 370 January 2018. January 2018 exchange rate table, January 2018 exchange rate table, January 370. See, correct. So it's working fine. Then you might ask, why did we create this as both direction? What if you created it as a single direction? So let's try that. What if I had left it as single direction? So I'm updating this as single direction, and I go back in here. Are you noticing that this is, it's just repeating the same value for me across all of the months? So again, you might want to read up on single and both direction from the Microsoft technical resource, but then at least now you've seen a practical effect that whenever your computation is just repeating the same thing, just know the problem is coming from direction, and it could be because you picked the thing that couldn't talk to the other thing. So that's what happened. This could talk to this couldn't talk to that, and then communication gap, right? So I fixed that back, and then I can complete the calculation here. So I'm just going to say the target value divided by that exchange rate, and that is all. So with this, I think we are done with the DAX. We'll do a bit more DAX later on, but then we are done with the DAX enough for this our formula. In this section anyway, we'll still do a bit more DAX in the measures and some other things. So just taking one last look at all what we've done, if there's anything pending. So I think we are good. We are now going to go into creating the reports. So see you in the next video.